Welcome back to States and Kingdoms. Today we're talking about Genesis and their album from 1991, We Can't Dance. This is my original tape, my original cassette tape from the year 1991.
Yeah, I thought it'd be funny.
So this is not a vinyl review. It is a cassette review.
This also closes out our Genesis reviews. It's been about 2 years.
You don't do Calling All Stations?
No, we will probably. But as far as from Trespass to We Can't Dance.
Yeah, this is kind of the end of an era.
You know, this is it. No more Genesis reviews.
They're going to be very, very disappointed.
I know. I know. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But, you know, I thought, you know, this is called not album reviews anymore. It's not reactions.
We've never done reaction videos.
No, I did when I was like.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You reacted to something you knew for like 30 years.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
But, you know, it's albums that we love. And we're stretching a little bit with this one. Because, you know, this would still have to be my least favorite Genesis album. I would.
Yeah.
It would have to be. I mean, I don't really do favorites and things, and we don't do list videos much
Maybe it
anymore.
ties.
But
They're coming. They're
over
coming.
YouTube.
This might tie for a least favorite.
Wait, tie with what?
Shoes, laces.
No, come on, what tie with what?
Don't put me on the spot. I haven't decided yet.
Oh,
I'm saying you said it's your least favorite. I said it might
okay.
be like with another one. Like I don't want to say it's my least favorite.
No, don't tell us now. Wait until another video.
I will.
Okay.
I'm not ready to talk about it yet. I'm just saying, it's not like I just don't want to. I don't want to hurt its feelings. I don't want to single it out. That's all I'm saying.
Anyway, this would, like I said, this would have to be probably. It's an enjoyable record, and there's some really great things on it. As you would expect from Genesis, it's not surprising. You're not going to find anything bad or even mediocre on a Genesis album. So, you know, you're grading basically.
On a curve.
Yeah, you're grading on a curve.
This one's special.
You're hedging
too.
your bets.
Exactly. 2 in the hand is worth 3 in the bush.
Yeah.
This album, for me, for you, for us, you know, we have very, very clear memories of these songs. Like our own memories. It's not like hazy. I mean, I have very hazy memories of earlier Genesis records. I know that they were on, and I have, like I said, hazy memories. This one is clearer, way clearer. These are, you know, fully formed. We were there. We heard these things. They were, you know, very popular songs. I remember the videos. I remember, you know, like all of it. So.
In the heyday of VH1, MTV, when that was really at its peak. And
the video for I Can't Dance,
at this time.
I recently rewatched, and it's very funny.
You know, I think that
it's
was.
Very funny.
It's really to this album's detriment initially, and sort of to its benefit now, that it is nostalgic. You know, these songs were all over the place. Knew, you know, a lot of them. You saw the videos, and at the time, I think I liked I Can't Dance. I mean, it's such an easy song to get into. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know if I really, it left me with a good impression of Genesis, you know. Same with Peter Gabriel, because those videos were on all the time, too.
Sledgehammer and Big Time.
Yeah. And, you know, it was right around the time where more alternative groups broke through, and, you know, and that really was ultimately, you know, what we started listening to. You know, it wasn't older bands. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of things that I like about this album that, like, for instance, the Tony Banks, you know, I mean, there's a lot of digital synthesis on this. I mean, you know, he had really gone to plaid at this point, and, you know, and I can't say that, you know, it sounds as good as his earlier, you know, synth sounds, because I don't think it does really, but I don't need to tell you this. Our father made electronic music in the 90s, and he put out, I'll tell the camera, I'm going to talk to you. You know this. You know, he put out 3 albums on a small independent label.
That's right.
And there you are.
Okay.
And you know, so he had synthesizers, and one of them was the J800.
Yeah.
And it's all over this album, and it's very comforting, very nostalgic for me. I love the sound. You know, heard it a ton. So for me, I mean, it's totally subjective. I do like that about this. I do like the synth sounds on, you know, on this album because of that. You know, I really do. This the album it's too long.
It's long.
It is 71 minutes. Land Lies Down Broadway is 94 minutes, and I mean that is that's an extraordinary journey of a record.
Yeah.
This is not as much of a journey of a record. It just feels like it's a little too long.
You get lost in the middle.
Yeah, I do. There are some songs that just overlap. So, for instance, Way of the World, I think is a great song. I like that song a lot.
Yeah.
Then you don't really need another Jeremiah on the album. So tell me why overlaps with it. And it's not to me, not as great a song.
Yeah.
So that really, you know, there are things like that on this album where I probably would have
like snip a few.
But at the same time, someone could totally disagree. So when you talk about shortening,
well, shortening bread.
Double out shortening bread.
I never want to say no to more music. You know, so in retrospect, I'm glad to have a giant album.
Yes.
You know, but
yes.
Critically, you know, if you're looking at it critically as what would be like the strongest
album,
yes, then yes, I agree. Yeah. I agree.
The singles are catchy and clever. You know,
what an album!
No Son of Mine is an incredible song. I Can't Dance is a wonderful. It's wonderful in its simplicity. Mm-hmm. You know, it's
such a sparse song.
It's
rhythmic and just like open wide and quirky.
Mm-hmm. And funny.
I just love it. And yeah,
showing their humor, which, you know,
Genesis... supermodels were a big deal in the early 90s. And a lot of supermodel songs. Because like the whole supermodel craze just caught everyone by surprise, I think. And like it's perplexing. Like, why are they so popular? Why are they so famous?
I mean, it had been coming on for a while, but yeah, it definitely got...
It was a big deal.
Yeah. It got a little weird. Mm-hmm. I guess it is still weird, but...
It was weirder then. They were everywhere. Like...
No, I mean, it was... I agree.
In general, things are weirder now.
I think it's weirder. Yes, that's what I mean. I think it's weirder now just because everything's weirder now.
Everything's weirder now.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, it is. It's a very funny... Their humor comes out there. Like I mentioned the video earlier, you know. Mm-hmm. It's so delightful. Truly. You know, because Phil Collins obviously has a reputation for being a little bit of a clown, and he's got that humor side, and he's silly and whatever. But, you know, Mike Rutherford and Tony Banks are right there with him doing the weird walk thing, and it makes me happy.
Their sense of humor is always, it's subtle, but it's really always there.
Yeah, it's there.
And that song's so great. It's different for them, the guitar, different kind of guitar sound. It is a wonderfully simple arrangement.
You know what it makes me think of? Oh, yes. Music Must Change. You know, the Who song?
Oh, really?
You know how the weird, like, drum sound? I know I read that they couldn't get Keith Moon to do it, but that's what I was thinking of listening to this again. Mm-hmm.
I love Fading Lights. I do. I think that it is, you know, that no matter what, no matter any flaws or if it's as good, it's a great song.
It's beautiful.
It's a great song. This is a melancholy record. You know, there are complaints, and you know the diversity of topics actually is typical for Genesis, but it's rather interesting.
It feels like a little bit of time has passed, and they've collected like a bunch of like interests. You know, like in the little interim.
But they could always write. I mean, you know, songs about so many things that no one else would write a song about. Yeah, but here you have, you know, whether it's like abuse, televangelists. Mm-hmm. That's the melody of that song is amazing. Lyrically, I mean, it's very much on the nose. You know exactly what it's about.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of an easy target, but it's not a bad one.
Yeah, that song is really infectious. It's just Very catchy.
Rail workers, personal loss.
Right.
Oh, there's quite a lot on this record. Definitely things about current events.
And the
issues.
usual Tony Banks aliens, coming by the seashore.
Also, health food. Yeah. But it altogether is kind of an album of laments, and I again, it works. It's just a little too long.
Yeah. I mean, I love all the longer songs. I love Living Forever. I think that's just such a wonderful kind of, one of those Genesis songs that's like, a little bit extended, different parts, like shifts and does different, goes into different like movements. I think that's a really dynamic, awesome song. Like, I love the melody. I love
I'm
the
really
whole end.
kind of in awe of Tony Banks, really, and I know
he's really amazing.
They're all credited, but
he never gets the credit he deserves.
No,
never.
He doesn't get the credit for.
He doesn't.
What a phenomenal songwriter.
I mean,
and
Mike
musician
Rutherford is also wonderful.
Yeah, so 6 singles from this album.
It's one of those albums. Like I think we mentioned in a video not that long ago how we should do a list of all of the like 5, 6 single albums out there. They're just like crazy successful.
Yeah, and then that's it. I was thinking, that it would have been so fantastic, and honestly, they could technically still do this, because they were so young when they started. They're all still relatively young. But, it'd be so fantastic for them to have actually gotten, like, everyone back in the studio. Anthony Phillips, Peter Gabriel, Steve Hackett.
Because they're all alive.
And do something together as a full Genesis.
It'd be awesome.
And it would have been fantastic if they could have done that back
when
then.
Phil was in a little bit better health.
Yeah, you could really
they
still
could
do it, of course. I mean, I don't think it'll happen.
I would pay big $1 to go see that.
I mean, just,
even if they just like recorded something, it doesn't have to be live.
When you listen to this album, there's still more for them to do, and ultimately this is the end of it. Calling All Stations, we could talk about that sometime. But of course, it's just the two of them now, and I mean, that is the nucleus of Genesis, but there's still a feeling of what could have been with this album a little bit, definitely. It's still it's still vibrant. They're still they're still changing. They're still finding new things to do, just like they always did. It sounds great. You said before, it's like it doesn't sound dated. It's true. No, it really doesn't.
There's some albums that came out in 91, 92, and you're like, that's from the 90s.
It doesn't have that drum sound. The drum sounds very good. It's actually a really great sounding album.
I love that kind of stuff.
No, but I mean, how different it sounds from Invisible Touch, even.
Yeah. Well, even, I was thinking about how interesting that a band at Genesis's level at that time in 1991, 92 could have such a hugely successful album. I was trying to think like now, putting that into perspective, like who would that, like, is that like the Foo Fighters having a 6 single hit album at this point?
I suppose so.
But they won't.
No, they won't.
Like there's no equivalent now. Can you even think of any band who has been around for 20 years having an album come out and be that giant of a hit album?
No, it's just totally different now.
It couldn't happen.
No.
It couldn't happen. I just think it's very interesting. Food for thought.
Yeah.
We'll end on that note.
Yes.
Think it over.
Okay.
Thank you so much for watching our brief discussion of We Can't Dance. Please let us know what you think of this album in the comments. Like this video, please, and subscribe to States and Kingdoms. And we'll see you next time.